Welcome to episode number 16, I think. Mr. Bragg's in here with the hoodie on. It's Saturday morning, our version of college game day. Ours is better anyway. Don't get on ESPN, come to YouTube. We got a full slate of top 25 games, honestly. A lot of conference matchups, a lot of not really any non-conference. Besides, if you're a big fan of Kansas and Duke, that's this weekend. Undefeated teams. How you doing, Mr. Bragg?
I'm a big fan of Kansas.
That's how you doing. Are you
Yeah.
excited for the game today?
Georgia don't play nobody, but I'm excited for
The Kansas and Duke game.
they got Maryland, Michigan State, Kansas and Duke, of course. Duke.
Maryland, Michigan.
It's not it is Michigan. Sorry.
You're going next week to
I'm
Michigan
too
State.
excited. Yeah, I'm too excited. Uh we got Clemson and Wake Forest is on here. We got let me see what else. USC, Oregon State, Arkansas A&M. Just a good week. One of the better weeks that we've had so far, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably, as a slate, it's probably the best week we've had. Don't know if it'll be the best games, obviously, but it looks like it's going to be the best week.
Right.
Hang on, I'm trying to share this. So we'll go over our personal top 25s after week 3. And then we'll go with the pick 'em, and then we'll talk about the big games. There's 4 or 5 ranked games. We'll talk about them, and then we'll be done. Should wrap it up in an hour. Darren, if you want to go through your top 25 first.
I think we should do it like I say my 25th, and then you say yours, and then we give a quick, brief reason as to why.
Okay.
I like that better.
I like that too.
All right. So, coming in at number 25 for me, I got Kansas. I just think Kansas, just like very to have one of the top scoring offenses in college football. Like only one team can have that, obviously, and for them to not have that team in the top 25, it just feels wrong to me. Like their defense can't be that bad. They beat a Houston team who projects to be decent. They might not be amazing, but they project to be decent.
And years past, Kansas loses those games.
Exactly. They get killed in those games.
Right.
And the fact that they're just turning it around, they're staying in games.
They didn't just win that game either. I mean, they blew them out.
They're killing good teams. And so I'm going to give Kansas their due diligence and get them 25th.
I like it. You know who I'm going with here? I've been high on them the whole season. They play awful defense, but they win games. Give me the Beavers at 25. Give me the Beavers at 25.
I wouldn't say they play awful defense, though.
They average giving up 27 points a game.
But they played like Fresno State. And who else?
Boise.
Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind.
But they do get USC today.
They're going to average 47 points given up.
Hey, easy on the Beavers. Come on now. 24. Who you got?
24, I got Florida. I'm a little low on Florida, but I do have them in there. They did beat Utah, and then they lost to a Kentucky team at home, which, I mean, it is what it is. But I do have them ranked. I think they are outside of the inefficient quarterback play and just the inefficient offense in general. I think they are. If they can pull it together, this can be a top 25 team, and I just have them in there right now.
I think the pieces are together. I think the pieces are there if Anthony Richardson can play like he did in week 1.
Right. Against a good Utah defense.
Right. Number 24 for me, I went with Pitt. Pitt, they lost to Tennessee by 7 with the backup quarterback. They were going to win that game had he not gone out. I really believe that. And they're 2-1. They went into Western Michigan with a backup quarterback and won. The action's never easy, and they did it anyways. And I just feel like they're deserving of a spot until they get knocked out. Well, one more loss and they're out. But if they lose with Slovis, they're out. But I mean, Slovis is pretty good, and with him, I think they're a top 25 team.
Yeah. At 23, I have Pitt for like all the same reasons you just said, pretty much.
Right. 23, Washington State. They went on the road, beat Wisconsin. Well, we'll know a lot more about them tonight when they play Oregon. But they went on the road to Wisconsin, and they took down the Badgers, which was very weird because Darren did tell me, why is this game on the pick'em? And it ended up being on the pick'em because Washington State was going to win anyways, and they did. They showed out. So that win in general and being 3-0 gets them in there for me over a 2-1 Baylor, so to say.
Interesting. 22, I have Florida State. Florida State went into Louisville, losing their starting quarterback like midway through the game, their best D lineman, and they went and the backups pulled it out. Not to mention they beat a tough LSU, which was basically a home game for LSU. For at least in my book, that's basically a home game.
I agree.
And then they beat Louisville. They played Duquesne week 1. I don't care about that. I think this Florida State team has all the potential in the world, and I'm going to give them benefit of the doubt and just give them, where I think they could end up.
I agree. I went 22 Florida State as well for all the same reasons. I feel like they're a tough team, and I feel like I may be totally wrong on this, but the brand of defense they play and I wouldn't say their offense is amazing, but I'd say it's average to efficient enough to win them a lot of ACC games. And I feel like if they could upset at NC State and upset or beat Wake, I feel like they could finish second, and they may beat Clemson in the end. I don't know. I mean, it's in Tallahassee. But if they can do it, they can finish second in the ACC Atlantic. I really think they're that good.
Right. 21, I have Wake Forest. Start of the year, they didn't have their starting quarterback. Now Hartman's back, and the offense just looks good as new. We'll really see with today how they play Clemson if they're really deserving of the 21 because they haven't played anybody like great.
Defense is a struggle.
Defense, I'm definitely worried about. But again, you can't have that high powered of an offense and not, be up here. Right. So I'm going to go Wake Forest 21.
21? You don't even want to know who I went at 21. Kansas at 21. Their offenses look too good and better than the bottom four that I've already talked about. They don't play. They may not play defense, and that's totally fine because right now their best defense is twice the offense, and until they face a defense that can stop them, they're going to win games, and they're going to beat Duke today too. So,
all right, okay.
That's my 21st place team.
20th, I have Baylor. I heard you say earlier that you didn't have Baylor in, which is fair. I just think their defense is just a little too strong for them to not be up here. I know they haven't really played anybody, but outside of the BYU game that went to double overtime, they've only given up 43 points in 3 games. Calculate that. What is that, like 14 a game? 14, 15 a game? Mm-hmm. And I just think the Big 12, your defense is more important than anything because you have teams like Kansas who's going to outscore you, teams like Texas who's going to outscore you, teams like Oklahoma who's going to outscore you. And so they're going to be built on the defense. I don't think they need a crazy high-powered offense, and I don't think they have that. But I think their defense is just, again, like I said, too good to not be up here.
Okay. Yeah, 20th, I went Texas for good reason. They played top with Alabama. If they can get Ewers back, they'll stay here. But if not, they're probably going to go down in the next few weeks. He's traveling today. He's dressing out. I don't know if he's playing, but he is dressing out. Besides that, that's really all I got to say about 20. I want to talk about the top 15 where it gets good. 19 for me, I'll go ahead. Wake is 19 for me. I didn't want to put them this high, but I had a problem with putting other teams this high, and I was like, well, Wake was there last year. They won the ACC Atlantic last year, played for the ACC championship, and this year they kind of have the same offense back. So, I mean, I'll put them up there for the same reason I put Kansas up there. But I think Wake and Kansas will be a shootout for the ages. Anyway.
19, I had BYU. BYU obviously beat Baylor. I almost put Baylor ahead of them just because BYU has the injuries to those main guys. But outside of the loss to Oregon last week, BYU has looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no reason to just not have them too high, but because I'm not super high on them, honestly. But I do think they deserve, a top 20 spot.
They're my 18. I'm big on the Cougs. They looked bad last week, but I think you could kind of expect that going on the road at Oregon. So, I mean, I think they can definitely recover from that. So I put them at 18. That's my 18.
My 18, I have Texas. I think just the Alabama game, they really surprised me. Like, I didn't expect it to be that close at all. And then they beat UTSA, who I consider pretty good, and they beat them pretty easy with the backup quarterback. And I think they just kind of have everything working right now, defensively and offensively. One of the best running backs in the country, one of the best receiving cores in the country. I think just give them a little bit more time, and then they could be top 15.
Mm-hmm. If they win this week, they're top 15 for me. Number 17 for me is going to be Utah. I feel like everybody thinks I've never been as high on Utah as everybody else is. They're low for me in the rankings. You went on the road and you proved that I know Anthony Richardson played great against you. I know that. I get that. He did not play great against anyone else. That's fine. I get that. But with Kentucky coming in the next weekend and beating them, and then South Florida coming in the next weekend and almost beating them, that devalues that Florida loss a whole lot more than anything else to me right now in the country. That loss is the worst loss for a top 10 team in the country to me.
Okay. Interesting. 17, I have Oregon. Outside of the Georgia loss, Oregon, hasn't looked bad at all.
No, this is my 16th. They're my 16th, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they've looked bad at all. I think, you play the best team in college football week 1. It's not going to go great. Now, yeah, they only put up 3 points, but still, I think you just give them, that's a new unit, new quarterback, a lot of new turnover. So I think Oregon deserves, to be up here somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think this Oregon team will reveal itself in time. They'll reveal if they're going to go 8-4 or if they're going to go 10-2. I mean, it's going to be them. I mean, it's going to be based off how Bo Nix plays, and it's going to be based off how that offense plays. And I think in the end, you're going to see them not be very good. But right now, I think they're a decent football team, and they're deserving a 16 right now just because the BYU win last week.
Yeah, my 16, I got Washington. Washington made it in after killing Michigan State, which we'll see how good of a win that is. I've always looked at Michigan State to be pretty decent. Obviously, they're not in my top 25. But Washington looked really good. They look really convincing. Michael Penix looks like a Heisman candidate out of nowhere. And I think Washington is probably top 2 team in the Pac-12. So
I agree.
I got Washington at 16.
Yeah, now we go into my top 15, where my top 15 is all 3-0 teams, and I rewarded you for being undefeated to this point because it ain't easy to go undefeated through 3 games. Unless you're Michigan or Clemson, and then, but most teams play a decent matchup between there, and so going 3-0 is tough, and you're going to get rewarded for it. In my top 25, my 15th is NC State. They've been the most underwhelming team in my top 15 so far. Not their offense has been very underwhelming. Their defenses look great, but their offense can't score all of a sudden, and that brings up worry for me. And they don't play anybody this week, but they do go to Clemson next week, so I think we'll really see next week. I'm gonna put them at 15 for right now. We'll see.
My 15, I have Ole Miss, another undefeated team. They haven't really played any competition, so I couldn't give them super high just because I do value like the who you play and stuff more. I feel like than a lot. And while Ole Miss has looked solid, again they just haven't played anybody, so I can't give them too much credit until they play somebody good.
Right. Yeah, 14 for me is Arkansas. Arkansas is, I can't tell with them. Rob, my dad, texted in the chat. He just said the Wolfpack are going to be a tough one for Clemson. I could see that. I also can't see that if their offense keeps playing the same way.
I think you'll see where I have them earlier. I mean,
Darren's big on the Wolfpack. 14 for me is Arkansas. Like I said, I don't know about the Razorbacks. I'm interested to see how they look against A&M today. Looked bad against Missouri State last week, but I mean they were probably looking ahead. They got out with the win. KJ Jefferson can be a difference maker. He can be a separator. We'll see how that goes today. But I put him at 14 for right now. I need to see him beat somebody big.
14, I have Penn State. I would have never, at the beginning of the year, I would have never said I would have never thought Penn State could be ranked even. But, while they haven't played anybody great, which is why I have them where I have them, they've played 3 decent opponents and made 2 of them look just terrible. One being Auburn, one being Ohio. And then they went to Purdue, right? And then they beat
to Purdue and Auburn.
Yeah, they killed Auburn. So I think Penn State has a lot of potential. They got young guys too, like the running back Singleton. Guy has all the potential in the world. If they just know how to use him the right way, Sean Clifford can stay healthy, not turn the ball over. The defense has been amazing. Penn State, I got them at 14. I think they could be a top 10 team if they just keep this up, honestly.
On them. 13 for me. You know where I'm going here. Impressive Washington is 13th for me. They have one of the bigger wins in the country this year, I will say that. Beating Michigan State like they did is very impressive to me. You can make an argument that Florida's win over Utah was bigger, but I mean, Washington's not going anywhere, not with that kind of offense. And they play a decent brand of defense, and I feel like that's going to be enough. And I don't know how the Pac-12 – I can't remember how the Pac-12 is set up, but I think you could see them in the conference championship at the end of the year. This is a really good Washington team. Like I said at the start of the year, and you told me you wasn't how long.
I wasn't. I was like, Washington, but they proved me wrong. Anyways, number 13, I got Tennessee. Same thing that I've been saying with the offense. Hendon Hooker is arguably a top 2, top 3 QB in the SEC, and the offense is too high powered. And they have some decent ones, like the win against Pitt. They were facing a backup quarterback for like half the game or whatever, or the fourth quarter.
The second half, I mean. Yeah.
Second half. Besides that, they haven't really played anybody like too great. So It's still kind of a wait and see. But as of right now, I have to have Tennessee pretty high just because of how high powered they are in their own right.
Yeah. I wanna argue something before we get into my next pick. Can we really? Okay, hear me out now. Can we stop considering Bryce Young as a lock as the best quarterback in the SEC? Because have you seen his stats to this point? And everybody wants to say the best quarterback in the SEC is Bryce Young by far. I don't think it's by far.
It's not by far. I would still say he is the best. I don't think he's playing at his top potential
I
right
think
now.
he's the best talent wise. I don't think he's played the best. And even last year, I know he won the Heisman, but me and Rob were talking about it, and he had one great performance, and that was Georgia in the SEC championship. Besides that, he beat up on little teams, but I mean, he hasn't looked like the Lamar Jacksons and the Baker Mayfields and the Robert Griffin IIIs that have been Heisman winners. I don't know that he's at that level.
I don't know either. I mean, it's hard to tell because, yeah, he hasn't looked good yet, but I feel like it has to come at some point. If Alabama wants to stay where they are, it's going to have to come.
Yeah. Well, let me read something off to you. Let me know if you know these names. Jerry Jeudy, Jalen Waddle, Jamison Williams, John Mechie. Just think about those four. Devontae Smith, sorry. That's why Bryce Young's the quarterback he is. He don't have those guys, and that's why I think we're seeing him struggle because he's having to throw to Jermaine Burton.
Well, Jerry Jeudy wasn't there when.
Sorry, excuse me, not Jeudy. Jamison Williams and John Mechie. That's enough right there. They don't have those two guys. They don't. Simple as that. And that's what's going to be the downfall of the Tide this year, I think.
I could see that.
Because I know their defense is good, and I think Will Anderson is great, and I'm getting off on a tangent here. But I don't know that defense is amazing. And I think they drop a game during the year, and I think they may lose in the SEC championship to Georgia and not get in the playoff.
I think they will lose if they keep this up. But I want to give them time, but I do think they probably drop it, personally.
Yeah, they may not make the playoff this year. Early take. Now, they'll figure it out. They always do. But they can't afford to lose a game during the year just in case. I mean, because that Georgia game is going to be tough, win or lose. You don't want to lose a game during the middle of the year. Either Georgia or Alabama doesn't want to lose because if they lose that and the loser at the SEC championship's going home.
Right.
So, but number 12 for me, the only reason I got on that tangent was because Hendon Hooker, Tennessee. They're my 12th ranked team in the country right now. I think we'll see today with Florida, as again, like we talked about. But go ahead.
My number 12 is Kentucky. The AP poll, where do they have Kentucky at? 8?
8.
Kentucky's just not a top 10 team.
They're not.
I think they're really consistent, really, they have a lot of guys with a lot of talent. Will Levis is I'm not going to lie, I think he's the best quarterback in the SEC.
He's really good.
I think him and Bryce Young are neck and neck to me.
Him with the talent Bryce Young's had around him, I agree.
can name a receiver on Kentucky. I can name a receiver on every other probably SEC team, maybe not Vanderbilt.
Or Missouri.
Oh, wait, no, I can.
They have that freshman, yeah.
I got the 5-star freshman.
Yeah.
Or Burden, whatever. I can't name a receiver on Kentucky. So the fact that he's built out such a resume with weak receiving core, like he had Wan'Dale Robinson for last year, who he's pretty good. He literally got him to the NFL. Are you thinking about the video I sent you? Wan'Dale Robinson, he's now in the NFL, arguably because of Will Levis. So, but besides that, Kentucky, great defense. I do think they drop off a little bit, like later in the year, but for now, I just have to have them this high.
Right. That leads me into my next pick. Ours are similar. Kentucky is my 11. Kentucky is your team that's going to start off 4-0. Everybody's going to say, or 6-0. Whenever they play Georgia, they're going to be undefeated. And everybody's going to be like, oh, my goodness. They're going to lose to Georgia, and then they're going to finish out the year 9-3 or 8-4. That's the kind of team they are. And I mean that I'm sorry, Kentucky fans. I'm just not a believer in you until you go 11-1, 12-0, win the SEC championship. Sorry, but they're my 11 right now, but they're going to fall, and they're going when they fall, it's going to be hard.
Okay, my 11 is Utah. For some reason I'm high on Utah after I really wasn't at the start of the year. But I think getting a loss like to Florida, yes, it looks bad, especially right now because it's just so early in the year. It looks bad, but I think those type of losses just kind of put you back to reality. Like, where were they ranked? 5th or like 6th, 7th coming into the year? Too high. They shouldn't have been 7th anyway. Now, they also shouldn't have lost the game, but it kind of puts you in a different mindset that, like, you have to work for these games. They played an unranked team, and they lost to them. I think Utah is just like they're a weird team. Like, I don't feel like they're the best talent-wise. But, I mean, after the Florida game, they've given up 14 points in 2 games, and they've scored 108. Now, yes, it is against Southern Utah and San Diego State. But, I mean, we'll see today. Arizona State. Going to Arizona State. I know they're not great, but
they don't even have a coach. Speaking of that, I want to Arizona State. Did you see what happened with the head coach getting fired?
Herm Edwards got fired, but I don't know why.
He got fired because guys under him on his staff were leaking out their plays and everything they were going their game plan to other teams to get him losses and get him fired. Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Anyway.
But yeah, I got Utah at 11.
Yeah. Top 10. Ole Miss is my 10. I feel like they're one of the better teams in the SEC. I feel like they're one of the better teams in the country. I know they haven't played anybody, but they haven't unlocked their full potential yet, and I'm excited to see them against the SEC team. I don't know when that is, but I'm excited to see them in a conference game, in a decent game. They walked into Atlanta last week and beat Georgia Tech 42-0. I mean, I think they're a really good football team, and I think they got a really good coach. That's what really put them over Kentucky and Tennessee to me, because in a matchup, they would beat Kentucky or Tennessee because of coaching. I solely believe that.
Interesting. That was your number 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number 10, I have Arkansas. Now, I know it's high. It is high. But Arkansas just has a lot of talent. They just running the ball. They're one of arguably the best rushing attack, like in the whole college football. KJ Jefferson, well, again, he's in the conversation for one of those best quarterbacks in the SEC. The defense, while it's looked shaky at times, I think there's room for improvement. I think they'll get better. And as of right now, Arkansas has decent wins. Beating a team like Cincinnati, week 1, I think is solid. Yes, they did look shaky last week, but I think they'll bounce back this week, and then that's why I have them where I have them.
I agree. I'm not going to value if they beat A&M. I'm not going to value it amazingly. Sorry, but number 9 for me is Penn State. Mm-hmm. Penn State, you can say what you want about them. They're a top 10 team in the country right now. That's right now. Don't clip it back in the end of the year, Brad, and call me crazy. Oh, right now, they're a top 10 team in the country. They went on the road and beat a good Purdue team on a Thursday night or Friday night. I don't remember. That was tough. Ohio State has shown how tough it is to play at Purdue. They go to Auburn. It's never easy, no matter how bad Auburn is, to win there. And they beat them 41-12. The offense, the running back looks amazing. If Sean Clifford can just be above average to a little above average, and then the defense can be great like they're being, that's a top 10 team in the country. And I think they may get Ohio State in the end of the year because they have them at Penn State. So,
okay, number 9, I have NC State, And now I'm projecting a little bit because, yes, NC State has not looked like a top 10 team. I get that. They are still 3-0. I feel like the style of game that they play is keep the ball away from your opponent. And I feel like this is good for Devin Leary to get his stuff sorted out because he was preseason ACC Player of the Year. He's been nothing like it. He's been a complete opposite. I think the fact that they've been able to hold on to these games with him looking as bad as he's looked says a lot about the defense and just says a lot about how independent the team is just outside of having an amazing quarterback who makes all these plays. And I think they do have an amazing quarterback who can make all these plays. He's just not there right now. So I think you give them time. This is going to be a top 10 team. Now, I have them 9. I will admit, maybe they have not looked to the part yet, but they will. They will.
Do they get Clemson next week?
Give me this week, and I'll tell you next week.
Okay. 8 for me. You can argue this, whatever. Oklahoma State, they're one of the best teams in the country. They're the second best team in the Big 12. That offense looks amazing. Spencer Sanders looks amazing. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
The defense is always going to be there for Oklahoma State for the most part, and that's why they may win the Big 12. It's going to be a fun game between them and Oklahoma this year, but that's my 8 team.
I also have Oklahoma State, number 8.
Number 7 for me, I went Clemson. My Tigers are at 7. They're not a top 5 team right now. If they win today, they probably get there. If they win convincingly today, they're a top 5 team to me. But right now they haven't played like that. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think it's not unlocked, like you said, with NC State too. I feel like it's going to take a big environment and a big game like today to get them there, and I'm excited to see it. But right now they're number 7 for me.
I also have close to number 7. Just weaker schedule just kind of puts them here. I don't think they've looked bad at all. Like, they've looked solid for sure. Good enough to be number 7. I think they are probably better than like Oklahoma. They are probably better than the USC, but they just haven't played anybody and haven't looked as convincing as I would like. So that's why they're 7.
I'll get a lot of hate for this one at 6. Michigan's at 6 for me, and it's the same reason Clemson's at 7. Michigan has played Colorado State, UConn, and Hawaii. I can't give you a top 5 ranking if you're going to play that week of an out-of-conference schedule. I'm sorry. Okay? They need to be punished for that. There's weak out-of-conference schedule, and then there's Michigan's out-of-conference schedule.
That's true.
Like, this is probably the worst top 10 team out-of-conference schedule of all time.
Up there for sure.
But these aren't even teams that can contend with a group of 5s. These are like, but all 3 are ranked in the bottom 125. So, they're just at 6 for me. I think they're going to be really good, but I just think right now their schedule's been awful.
Yeah, I got Oklahoma at 6. They've looked amazing, like we kind of expected. I just don't think they looked better than the 5 ahead of them.
Yeah, I agree with that, but they are ranked higher for me. At 5, this is not going to stay here. This is just a ranking until we see what Michigan and Clemson look like against ACC opponents this week. Against conference opponents this week. I'm going USC at 5 right now. They do play Oregon State this week, but I'm not – if they win that game, they do go on the road, so we'll see. But I don't think they hold this ranking for long because I feel like a big Michigan win over Maryland, a big Clemson win over Wake will put them over them just because they've been there and they've done it the past few years.
Yeah, I have USC at 5 as well. I really like what they're doing so far. I didn't expect them to be here this soon, but they have no reason not to be. They haven't really played anybody amazing, but they've looked super convincing while doing it. So I'm high on USC, but yeah, like you said, in the next couple weeks, I expect it to probably drop off a little, maybe a couple spots, but
Here's my thing. Here's how I feel about USC. The luck's got to run out at some point. They have 14 their turnover margin is 4. They're winning it by 14. You know how lucky that is right now? I mean, they've had balls batted up in the air, pick sixes. I mean, you could say it's good defense, but when you go back and watch the highlights, a lot of it's luck. And I'm not saying they're not good, but I think that defense is not as good as advertised right now. And I think you start to see that defense fade away. I think they are in a battle tonight with the Beavers. I think they're in a tough battle for 3 quarters. No, you can go.
Oh, sorry. Number 4, I got Michigan. Yeah, they haven't played anybody, but just off what I think they are, I think they will be, but they are better than USC. I think they are better than teams like Oklahoma, Clemson. So I just have them at number 4 because of that.
Yeah, number 4 for me is Oklahoma. They've been convincing. They went on the road. I know this isn't great, but they went on the road, beat a Nebraska team 49-14. I like what Oklahoma's doing. I don't know that they're going to be there all year. I predicted them in the playoff, and they've showed it to this point. If they can beat Oklahoma State, I think they're a playoff team, barring anything crazy. So give me Oklahoma at 4.
All right, number 3, I have Ohio State. They've looked great. Injuries to their top guys kind of worry me. I hope they'll be back, but I mean, yeah, Ohio State's just the 3rd best team.
Yeah, Ohio State is number 3 for me, but they're knocking on the door at 2. With a very convincing win today against Wisconsin, like very convincing, like a big blowout. And then Alabama struggling a little bit, I could see them jumping them next week to me.
Okay. Number 2, I got Alabama. They could be lower. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like they just can't be at the same time. It's too much of a name pedigree.
That's the problem. Yeah, they're not going to rank lower than 2 until they get a loss every year.
Yeah, I can't have them that low just because I know what this team is capable of. So
right, I agree. Georgia is 1 for me. No, Alabama's 2. Georgia's 1. They've just looked the best in the country to this point, and I'm interested to see how the rest of the season goes. I mean, they're going to win out more than likely. If they lose the game, I'd be highly surprised. But they look really good. I'd like to see them get tested, but they're not going to get tested. Not with the SEC East. Maybe Tennessee, but probably not.
Yeah, and Georgia's my number 1 team as well. They look like the best, so they get the honors.
So that's our top 25 personally. Now we'll get into the pick'em. The pick'em took a big turn last week as Darren jumped me for a 52-27 record, and I'm now at 49-30. So he gained 4 games on me last week. So it's not good, but I mean we're in striking distance. So we'll get into that. I took VT on Thursday night, and Darren took West Virginia. We both took Syracuse last night, so we know how those turned out. So we'll get right into it. One of the first games of today is Clemson goes to Wake Forest. What you got?
I'm going to go Clemson. But Clemson has to prove it to me. I think this game is real easy for them to lose. But I think the defense is going to be strong enough. The offense can just put up some decent numbers. I think they'll be able to win this game. I'm going to go Clemson.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be biased here, but looking at Wake Forest's rush defense, I'm going to give you this stat, okay? Dabo Swinney is 13-0 against Wake Forest in his tenure. He's never lost to them. So Clemson overwhelms them year in and year out. They don't even have to throw the ball to win this game. They're going to run all over them, and
that's how I want them to play because I need this one. This is one of the more weird games to pick. I feel like run the ball, do not throw the ball.
Right.
Win the ball with Will Shipley and the quarterback.
But here, yeah, like in the end, I'm going Clemson, and I think it's kind of convincing because I think Wake Forest is going to have to be one-dimensional. They're going to have to throw the ball. They're not going to be able to run the ball. We know that. And I feel like throwing the ball 50 times, they're going to make a mistake against that defense. And it's just going to – I think it's going to get ugly. I don't – and it's not going to be because the offense is great. It's going to be because the defense dominates, and they're going to win this game.
All right. Yeah, I agree.
Baylor at Iowa State.
This is a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going to Iowa State, sleeper 3-0 team. Only thing is, Iowa State hasn't really played anybody. They almost lost to Iowa, and then they blew out
10-7 or 14-10.
Give me Baylor. I'm gonna take Baylor. I'm gonna go Baylor.
I'm gonna go Baylor here too. I think they're getting themselves a decent win today.
Yeah.
This is a funny one. Missouri at Auburn.
Ooh.
I don't even know what to say here. I just don't know. It's tough, but that's why I put it on here. Who you got?
I'm gonna go Auburn. No TJ Finley. I think is gonna turn the offense around a little bit personally.
Yeah, I mean we can go. I'm gonna go Auburn here too at home. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
TCU at SMU.
Ooh.
Give me the Mustangs. I'm gonna go Mustangs here.
Give me TCU.
Give
me TCU.
Duke at Kansas. Give me the Jayhawks. I don't know that this one's even close.
Yeah, give me Kansas.
Florida at Tennessee.
Florida at Tennessee, huh? Give me Tennessee.
Good old Rocky Top. Give them to me. Texas at Texas Tech. Not so fast. Slow down here. Because I know everybody's thinking Texas. If Ewers doesn't play, this Texas Tech team can get this win. So that's why it's so tricky to me.
Give me Texas.
I'm going to go Texas for the same reason that I'm going Clemson over Wake.
Yeah, I think the Texas defense is a lot better than we think it is. So
Notre Dame at North Carolina.
Give me North Carolina.
I'm going North Carolina here too because the offense is just going to be – Notre Dame's defense is good, but North Carolina's offense is going to be too much in the end without Notre Dame scoring at all.
What time is that game?
I think it's 3:30.
Oh, it is 3:30. Yeah, it is.
Minnesota at Michigan State. And I know what you're thinking, Bragg. Why would I ever put this on there? Minnesota is favored at Michigan State.
No, Minnesota is nice. They're right outside the top 25 for me.
So, Ibrahim, he's amazing. The running back from Minnesota.
Oh, Ibrahim? I'm gonna go Minnesota.
This one's so hard for me because
Michigan State just hasn't looked convincing enough.
Let's row the boat. I'm going Minnesota.
Let's get it.
On the road. They're favored by 2.5, which is really weird to me. Indiana at Cincinnati. Now, this is a weird one. They're going to Cincinnati. I think I'm going to go Cincinnati. Quarterback play is going to win this game.
I'm going to go Cincinnati, too.
Here you go. This is one for you. I put this on here for you. Your James Madison Dukes head to App State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Give me the Dukes, baby. Give me the Dukes.
I would love to see him win it, but give me the Dukes too.
Give me the Dukes.
Bad last week, and they had. When you look at it, that Texas A&M win does not look as good as it should.
Right,
So
I agree.
give me JMU.
Oregon, yeah, JMU baby. Oregon at Washington State.
Oregon and Washington State. Oh, this is tough. Give me Oregon.
Oregon.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know where to go here. Washington
I'm
State.
just not super high on Washington State, really. I'm not.
Yeah, I want to go Washington State here. I just feel like it's more risky to go Washington State. So I'm going to go Oregon, but I really, really, really think Washington State is – I would favor them in this game at home. Just saying.
I honestly – I think this game might get out of hand.
Wow.
I do.
Georgia Tech at UCF.
UCF?
Yeah, UCF. I didn't know if Jeff Sims was enough for you.
Not quite.
Arkansas at A&M in AT&T Stadium, which is the Cowboys Stadium, Jerry's World. They play this game every year there. It's a rivalry. But give me the Razorbacks solely because their offense. A&M's not going to be able to score enough.
Give me Arkansas.
Arkansas wants to run the ball. A&M's run defense is awful. So that's going to be the deciding
factor. A&M don't have a good quarterback. That's their step back.
Yeah. Wisconsin at Ohio State. And this one, I feel like people want to diss the Badgers. You know how they play in these big-time games. I could see this game being close for a while before Ohio State pulls away.
Give me Ohio State.
Not by a lot.
Yep.
Kansas State at Oklahoma. I know they had a bad loss last week, but before that, they looked really good.
Kansas State and Oklahoma. Give me Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. I don't know that it's close either.
I don't think it will be, but.
And to wrap up the nightcap, we got USC at Oregon State.
I could see a way Oregon State makes this closer than it should be, but at the same time, Oregon State just barely – here's going to be my logic because we love this logic. Oregon State just barely beat a Fresno State team on the road. They were on the road, but they barely beat them. That same Fresno State team played USC last week, and they lost by 30. Give me USC.
Give me USC by 10.
Give me USC by 20.
Man has no faith in the Beavers. One I didn't put on here we can talk about is Maryland and Michigan. Maryland, I didn't want to pick them because I feel like we're both going to pick Michigan, and even if Maryland won, it wasn't going to matter. But I think this game could be a lot closer than you think, solely because Michigan, it's going to be like the first game of the year for them. Because like we talked about, they haven't played a soul. Like anyone with a little bit of resistance. So I feel like this could be like a first game of the year for Maryland. I meant Michigan, whereas Maryland has played at SMU and beat them. They've played at Buffalo tough and beat them. So I think they can hang around. I don't think it's close in the end, but I think they can hang around.
Do you want to hear a funny I agree with all you said. I mean, I don't think it'll be that close. I don't think Maryland really can hang around. I think Michigan is just way better. But do you want to hear a funny stat?
What is your funny stat?
Guess what the over-under for Iowa Rutgers is this week?
It's got to be like 21.
34. And that's between both teams.
Wow.
Iowa has
in the under. I'm still going under.
I want to see how many people are taking the under. Okay, everyone's taking the over.
Because of Rutgers, maybe.
Yeah, that's. I mean, even Rutgers don't really score much.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird one for sure. There's a lot of great games this week. Who did we went over top performance from last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Who are you looking to see a great performance out of today before we wrap this up?
Who do I want to see one out of, or who do I think needs one to win?
Needs one and want to see one out of.
It's a good question. I think you're gonna need to see a great performance from Hendon Hooker if they're gonna want to win that game.
That game's gonna be a shootout.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's how Tennessee likes to run it. They like to score a lot and give up a lot. So I think Hendon Hooker is going to have to be on top of his game. Apparently, it's raining, so that can make it a little interesting, but gives Tennessee even more reason to keep the ball on the ground, which I think is their best way of offense.
All right. Yeah. My need to see for a win. I'm gonna say KJ Jefferson. I'm gonna need to see him having a great game today. I'm gonna need to see him put up 100 rushing yards and 150 passing yards to win the game today. Want to see have a good game? It's obvious. Will Shipley I want him to have a great game today. We need him to have a great game today. That's my want. And Caleb Williams.
Have a good game. Sorry to cut you off, but
what?
I want to see Riley Leonard have a great game and kind of get him on that national radar because, if they could pull that game out, he's been the guy and he's been really good, underrated. So, arguably, is he a top 5 quarterback in the ACC?
As of right now, yes.
Probably number 5.
Probably number 5.
He's better than DJ, I would say. Better than, well, I don't want to say he's better than Leary, but he's been better than Leary. But, I mean, who hasn't, to be honest? So, I don't want to weigh that too much.
Yeah, the best quarterback in the ACC right now is Sam Hartman. But based off performance to me. And Drake May. Drake May.
I was going to say.
Drake May's tough.
Is he better? Is Riley Leonard better than Slovis?
No. I'm not going to jump that ship yet.
I might be on it.
It's a tough ship.
He's only a freshman.
I mean, we'll see. But that's going to wrap up the college pregame show. We may even get in an NFL pregame show in the morning if we have time. We do have to make those picks at some point, but
yeah.
I don't even know if there's a chance that I catch you this week in the rank or in the pick 'em because I think we may have picked too many similar. But I'm excited for the day of football.
Yes, sir.
Darren gets to watch football today. Darren gets to watch football.
First weekend I can watch games.
This is the first Saturday he's been able to watch football. He's had to work every Saturday. Let's give a round of applause for Darren. He's in there. He's on the team.
With Georgia and Kent State.
Yeah, he gets to watch the Georgia game. Good for
I don't
him.
even know if I can watch them because I'm not in Georgia. So
they'll be on the SEC network.
Would they? Because doesn't oh, never mind. Florida and Tennessee is 3:30, and they'll probably be on like national, like ESPN.
Yeah, Clemson and Wake on ABC at 12. I don't know who's on ABC.
Auburn and Missouri is the game on ESPN. I mean, I guess it's a better game than Georgia, but yeah, no, Georgia's not on SEC Network either. It's Mississippi State and Bowling Green. So.
Mississippi State and Bowling Green. Anyway, so enjoy your day of football. Sit back, eat some chips and dip and some wings, and have a great day. I'm out.
I'm out.